Hello, I am the Tiger Wolf 55.
And this is a Ninja Psychic Wonderloo.
And welcome to this, the final countdown for our Bat-palooza series on Cinema Semantics. This week, The Dark Knight Rises is released. And now, we get to the review of the movie that leads directly into it. The Dark Knight. Released in 2008. Directed by Christopher Nolan.
Starring Christian Bale as Batman, Heath Ledger as the Joker,
Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent, Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon,
Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox,
Maggie Gyllenhaal replaces Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes,
and Michael Caine as Alfred, the butler.
Okay, this isn't gonna work.
No.
Okay, we're cutting the voices. This is The Dark Knight. Okay. Would you like to try and give the synopsis?
No.
It's only fair.
No.
No. Alright. Well, the movie is set several months after Batman Begins, and the subject of escalation is indeed coming into play. We witness the mob being attacked in one of their own banks by someone naming himself as the Joker. He is a brand new player in the game for Gotham's criminal underworld, and he's throwing a monkey wrench into the whole thing. However, Batman and Gordon and the new district attorney Harvey Dent all see him as pretty small fish compared to the mob, so they decide to take care of him at a later time. Right now, they have their focus on one thing: taking care of the big criminal organization in Gotham City, which seems very feasible now. Between Batman's own crusade against crime, the fact that the police department seems to have even more success now, partially thanks to Batman, and the fact that Harvey Dent is apparently above reproach. He is even willing to punch out a man on the witness stand who has pulled a gun to his head. All seems like it might actually work out. It seems that Bruce Wayne's plan to help save Gotham City is actually going to work. Unfortunately, following the capture of the final safe house for the mob's money, the decision to put the Joker off to the side comes back to bite them. The Joker forms an alliance with the mob, or rather the mob takes on the Joker's offer to take out the Batman, and the Joker begins a brand new crusade against Gotham City, threatening that if Batman does not reveal himself to the Joker and surrender himself, then people will die. And sure enough, he is a man of his word. As the days progress and Bruce Wayne keeps undercover, things continue to escalate, with more and more bodies piling up and more guilt being laid on Bruce's conscience. He has to wrestle with the idea of whether or not Batman is indeed still a viable option for him, or if he should finally surrender his role as the Dark Knight of Gotham City in order to save it. Meanwhile, his personal life is also in upheaval because Rachel Dawes has begun seeing her new boss. She is dating Harvey Dent, and it's more serious than just the usual love triangle that these movies usually throw at us. It's actually pretty well played out.
Mm-hmm. It's actually very deep caring and stuff going on.
So while Bruce Wayne is struggling with whether or not he should surrender Batman because of the Joker, he is also struggling with whether or not he should continue crusading as Batman because of the fact that if he does, he might end up losing the love of his life.
And yet, she's really into Harvey, so even if he does give up Batman for her, there's no guarantee that she's actually going to go to him. She might say, look, that was then, this is now. I'm with Harvey now. Goodbye.
There are a lot of threads in this movie, but all we can say for the final synopsis is Batman has to figure out exactly where his place is now in Gotham City and fight against the anarchy that the Joker has brought on like a storm to Gotham, and attempt to keep everything together even while the Joker is threatening to tear everything apart.
And honestly, even though that's like one of the shortest synopsises we've ever given, that's really all we can say, because first, there are so many threads we can really just kind of go off into tangents about it. And also, it has so many twists and turns in this movie that if we say anything else about it, we're going to give something up, which is going to unravel all the other threads. So there really isn't any point going on about the actual movie, just now our view of it.
Okay, well, the first thing that must be brought up, Heath Ledger's performance is probably the biggest thing that has been attributed to the Dark Knight's success, and for good reason. Heath Ledger nailed the Joker. Absolutely.
He didn't go into the jovial, the Joker part. He found this dark, sinister area of the Joker that no one ever really got into except in the comics.
Well, that's because in order to prepare for the role, Heath Ledger got the best Joker stories. The first 2 Joker issues that were published in DC Comics, The Killing Joke, The Man Who Laughs, stories like that, he studied them ad nauseum and spent a month perfecting everything about the Joker, from the walk to the talk, everything.
He even had this nervous tick of licking his lips. But somehow it wasn't just a nervous tick, it was actually a stroke of brilliance. Because it just showed that, I don't even know what it showed. It just showed how off he really is. And yet, he's a genius. Christian Bale's portrayal of Batman, Bruce Wayne, again, very good.
It's often overlooked because of how big Heath Ledger's Joker was, but there is a lot to like about what's going on with the Batman story as well. As we already said, there's a lot of personal story and struggles that he has to go throughout this movie, and Christian Bale does an excellent job showing the struggles and inner turmoil that Batman is going through, having finally moved on from the tragedy of his parents' death to now what is going to be happening with my life, because he's at a critical stage. And I think that this movie actually took some inspiration from Mask of the Phantasm, because just like how that movie helped to show another facet of how Bruce Wayne ended up becoming Batman always, so did this movie. This movie also helped to solidify why Batman will always be Batman.
Yeah. One thing I also liked was that in a lot of ways, or actually just completely, yes, we do know that his parents were murdered and that's the main reason why he became Batman, but in a good way, they did move past that. So that's one reason why I did like this movie. It matured his character very nicely in that way.
Most of the characters in this movie actually received a lot of development. The story of Harvey Dent was very well played out. Wish that he could have appeared in the sequel, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
No, so sad.
The Rachel Dawes story played out very nicely. The whole love triangle, again, very nicely done, especially compared to other superhero movies that are very straightforward in this type of thing, like Spider-Man 2. You kind of already know which way they're all gonna go.
Yeah. The way that they got Commissioner Gordon to being commissioner was a fantastic job. I loved how they got him to be promoted. Mm-hmm. While in the midst or because of the chaos that the Joker was causing.
And one thing that I have to mention as well, back to the Joker, I liked how they portrayed him again as a force of nature. Part of the Joker's, I hate to say this, but I can't think of another word, charm, is the fact that you know nothing about his past. Even he himself is unsure about it. And they reference that with several different backstories that he gives to his victims on how he got his scars. It worked for this character. It's like he wasn't anybody before he was the Joker. Whereas with Batman 89, you knew exactly who he was before the Joker, and he kind of always was that character. Period.
Yeah.
Nothing against that Joker. Still like it. It's probably the best straight comic book interpretation for live action. But Heath Ledger is overall the better Joker.
Yep. Morgan Freeman, again, really good job in his role. He did a little bit more of the secret operative thing in this movie, but it worked. It wasn't like, why are you doing this for no reason? Was he that desperate for a bigger role? It always fit. No, everything fit in this movie. There wasn't anything that was like, why did you do this to us?
Nobody could find a reason to hate this movie. Really. The only criticism that anybody could really find against this thing is, again, Christian Bale's Batman voice, because they did digitize it even further than what he was already manipulating it to do here, so some people said that it was even harder to understand him here. An unfair claim, as I understood each and every syllable that he uttered in the theater first time I watched it.
But, hey.
People are going to find things to complain about.
Plus, you have pointy ears. Everybody knows that pointy ears pick up sound better.
Oh, very funny.
So yeah, a definite recommend. Fabulous movie. Pretty much nothing wrong with this movie.
In fact, I'm of the opinion that it was snubbed at the Oscars. It should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Yep.
Come on. At least nominated. Maybe not winning, but nominated. When Avatar is nominated for Best Picture the next year, really?
Calm down.
No.
I can see it building up. And one thing that I also want to put to rest before we close. The woman, what's the actress's name that played Rachel in this movie?
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Okay, Maggie. A lot of people said, and I was one at the beginning, who said, oh, she was horrible, she was this, she was that. She wasn't Katie Holmes, so she was going to portray Rachel a little differently, partially because she's a different actress. She's a different woman. She has a different acting style. So even though a lot of people said, she wasn't all that good, she was a good replacement for Rachel Dawes. She was a good, different Rachel. So I just wanted to throw that in. Kudos.
Okay. Well, that is it. The next time you see us, we will be reviewing The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah!
Now, there's no guarantee on when we will be reviewing it, as it's going to depend entirely on when our schedule is going to permit for us to actually see the movie.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be soon.
Very hopefully. But until then, this is the Ninja Psychic Wonderloo. We hope that you really enjoyed our complete and full Bat-palooza, which will end completely and fully with our mini review synopsis of The Dark Knight Rises.
Well, have a good one, everyone. Take care.
Goodbye.